Good morning, everybody, and welcome to Newspaper and Coffee, Newspaper and Caffè. I'm always kind of confused about the name of our morning show. I hope everybody's doing well. I think I'm a certified meteoropathic because ever since the sun started shining 2 days ago, I've been feeling way better than in the recent months. So, yeah, I feel like spring is slowly approaching, and that is giving me way more motivation to approach my days. Please forgive my snapback hat today, but my hair is a mess. I'm trying to let it grow, but this morning it needed to be contained by a hat. So I hope that your morning is going well so far. Maybe you're drinking your coffee, you're having breakfast right now. And today we are going to take a look at an article that I found online about the importance of humor and personalized comedy in team meetings and events. Now, while the other articles that we have read together were from big newspapers and magazines like The Guardian, The New York Times, I remember also National Geographic, this time the website is called Martech Series, Marketing Technology Insights. I will be very honest, it's a website I had never heard of before, but this article is pretty interesting. And despite not following the usual structure of a Guardian article or New York Times article, so very short but dense paragraphs, you will see that here we've got longer paragraphs and the writing style is a little different. Nevertheless, I think it's a very interesting article, and I do, because I'm also a strong believer of humor, laughter, and comedy. So this article was actually published yesterday on March 2nd, 2021. The author is Kevin Hubschman, and I will read the title again: The Importance of Humor and Personalized Comedy in Team Meetings and Events. So, we start with a question. Are personalized comedy shows great for virtual experiences? I'm going to get a sip of water before I start. Cheers, everybody who is drinking water in the morning. Luca Cipriani, the website is martechseries.com. We spell that MARTECH series.com. And the name of the article is The Importance of Humor and Personalized Comedy Team in Personalized Comedy in Team Meetings and Events. Good morning, Luca, by the way. Nice to see you're here. So we start from a question. Are personalized comedy shows great for virtual experiences? It's been almost a year since companies across the country have been working from home, having a huge impact on the entire workforce and business operations in many different ways. Work from home has had the opposite effect of a work-life balance, leading employees and teams to be more stressed and work longer hours, taking away from the free time they could have used for spending time and socializing with family or friends, or simply just relaxing. As we continue into 2021, still remote and no in-person interactions, companies are realizing they need to find new and innovative ways to keep their teams and employees connected and make it a priority to develop their virtual cultures even more. Crazy to think about, but yes, it's almost been a year since the beginning of the quarantines, of the lockdowns. And so it's interesting that after 1 year, we can kind of assess the situation. We can evaluate the situation and see how it's been. Well, companies have had to reinvent themselves throughout this time. And in this article, that in my opinion had a very good introduction, we are going to see how companies are trying to keep the element of comedy alive and why it is so important. So, whenever you're writing, also remember of the importance of a strong introduction that gives a clear idea of what we are going to read about. I'll continue. Once companies went remote in March last year, business leaders across departments were thrust into a job they didn't really sign up for: event planning. The most common phrase that I hear from someone inquiring about a virtual comedy show is, "We've done everything out there: virtual cooking classes, team happy hours, escape rooms, magicians, even escape rooms that have a magician cooking." Okay, I made that last part up. I've heard this as far back as June 2020, so you can imagine how much this phrase has picked up now that we are in 2020, 2021. Most importantly, I've heard, "We could really use a laugh," which is something just about anyone can relate to at this time, and where virtual comedy comes into play. So let's take a look at what virtual comedy really is. By personalizing comedy shows and making the focus of the subject matter about the audience, feedback has been insanely positive and has enabled the teams to become closer through comedy and learning more about their teammates. In a laugh.events survey, which is, I'm assuming, a website, over 60% of attendees said that these personalized comedy shows were the best virtual experience they had been involved with all year. So, going back to the previous paragraph, what we see is that business leaders have become also event planners. Why? To keep their companies alive, to create activities outside of the mere work-related activities that could keep people happy and productive and having a good time. So, something that has become very popular is virtual comedy shows. And of course, as you can imagine, the comedians that are on the other end of the screen have had to reinvent themselves and to adapt their comedy to these times and to technology. So let's see why 60% of the people that have attended this say that it's been the best virtual experience they've done all year. More than yoga classes online, more than going to the gym with your personal trainer on the screen, more than cooking with your friends over Zoom. We really have done it all, haven't we? A familiar quote that everyone has heard at least once in their lives is, "Laughter is the best medicine." Few people realize this quote is actually from a psychiatrist, and doctors have found that laughter can change people's mental and physical well being. Now, I'm not a doctor, but if laughter can combat stress, anxiety, and depression, everyone should be prescribed it, especially during this time. Companies that focus on the physical and mental health of their employees are the ones that win at employee engagement and retention. Since humor can impact both physical and mental health, it's almost imperative that it be mixed in each work week. So, the famous sentence, "Laughter is the best medicine," comes from a psychiatrist. So, it's a fact. And in this paragraph, the author is saying there is no excuse around it. It's almost as if every company should guarantee its employees some comedy every single week. In fact, I'm reading in the fourth to last line of this paragraph, companies that focus on the physical and mental health of their employees are the ones that win at employee engagement and employee retention. So basically, companies that focus on these aspects, they keep their employees, and their employees even work harder. Okay, just as laughter has been known to improve physical and mental health, it is also able to improve our memory and strengthen relationships. If people are working with their coworkers on a daily basis, it helps to know the person behind the spreadsheet, presentation, or email, and continue to build on that relationship. Well, who is this person? What do they like? What makes them human? This can be easily done through personalized comedy. In this case, all audiences have to do prior to setting up attending a show is to fill out either a survey or a questionnaire. The most common question answered in this pre event survey is a fun fact about yourself that your teammates might not know. Companies are then able to attend a personalized comedy show, laughing and bonding, for instance, as a way for employees to be able to connect with one another on a more personal level. A stand up comedian, someone who is professionally trained to make people laugh, is using fun facts submitted by audience members to make their jokes. What better way to learn fun or funny facts about your coworkers than by laughing the whole way through? Plus, it's easier for people to remember these facts when they are laughing the whole time. These events not only bond coworkers together and make them work harder with and for each other, but it gives people something to talk about other than work. So I'm assuming that Laughing and Bonding is a company that does these shows. And the cool thing about these shows is that before the start of it, employees at the company, they get to fill in a survey where they might have to reveal some secrets about themselves. Why? Because then the comedian can target exactly those things and create a personalized show that will feel more intimate to the office and or to the workplace, and that people will talk about throughout the week. Okay? So I reread this sentence in the middle of the paragraphs of the paragraph. All audiences have to do prior to setting up attending a show is to fill out either a survey or questionnaire. Let's move on and see how the conclusion of the article is going to go. Of course, we understand that the author believes in the importance of laughter in the workplace. While nothing will ever beat the energy that comes from in-person company outings or being in a comedy club, 2020 has proven that there are multiple ways to conduct virtual team bonding activities and enjoy live comedy. In 2021, virtual comedy will continue to make strides simply because people are more comfortable with it. More so, even more, furthermore, corporate virtual comedy will increase tenfold because of the remote work culture that has been established across organizations, big and small. Corporations will need to be competitive in attracting talent. And since the kombucha is no longer on tap for remote employees, companies will have to get creative in establishing their virtual cultures in order to attract top talent. Now, what is kombucha? Kombucha is an extremely healthy drink that became viral, we could say, in the United States and especially in the holistic community a little bit. And there are some workplaces that gave free kombucha. It's a very expensive drink to their employees to monitor their physical health. So here there is a bit of a joke. I will read the sentence again. Corporations will need to be competitive in attracting talent. And because the kombucha is no longer on tap for remote employees, companies will have to get creative in establishing their virtual cultures in order to attract top talent. When everything is safe and goes back to normal, people will still be going to comedy clubs with their teams on outings. But if a corporation can control the tone of the event through an event organizer pre event survey and make the show all about the employees they are celebrating through an attendee pre event survey, and include all employees and teams across departments, remote and person, well, that's hard to turn down. Over 96% of people surveyed by Laugh.events said this type of experience is something that they would want to do again, either with another comic, a different personalized activity, or in any form. When steps are put in place to make sure that the comic and activity will fit an audience well, then that's the best way to plan for success between corporate team events and comedy. Now, before we jump to the last paragraph, I think it's becoming very evident how we want things personalized these days. The more we go on, the more we want products tailored to us. Think about it. Spotify. All of us use Spotify. There is a very cool feature on Spotify. Basically, according to the music that I listen to, they create personalized playlists only for me that follow my taste. So I really like rock music. There will be a lot of Led Zeppelin, for example. So this is a personalized product. And do I love it? Oh my God, I do. It allows me to discover a lot of new music, which I'm sure I will like. Think about Clubhouse, the app that is becoming very popular now, that works. It's not a text-based chat, but it's not a text-based chat, but it's only voice messages. It's becoming very popular because it's allowing people to feel closer to each other. And in this article, we are learning also that comedy can be personalized, and people, especially people in offices, they find it way more fun. It's more entertaining. And so there can be really a meeting point between a team, like an office event, a team event, for example, and a comedy show. They can happen at the same time and even in the same place. Let's jump to the last paragraph. Thank you, Luca. I agree with you. I think it's pretty interesting. Just like the corporate world, the comedy world is still figuring out as it goes. Overall, virtual comedy events are about bringing people, especially employees, closer together, getting them to interact with one another and the comic, and allowing them to experience an event that is different and unique to what they are interested in hearing. It has been found that personalization leads to the best shows, brings back previous groups, and dramatically increases event success rates. As companies continue to figure out what is best for their virtual cultures, they should highly consider implementing comedy if they haven't already, as it will be both impactful to the employee and the company as a whole. Very good. Now, let's scroll down a second and let's read who Kevin Hubschman, the author of the article, is. He's got a profile at the end of the page. So at the bottom of the page, let's see if we can find it. I think we're going towards the top. Let's go down. Okay. Well, if you click on the link of the article at the end, we've got its description, and it says Kevin Hubschman is the founder and host at Laugh.events, a stand-up comedian himself. Kevin's passion lies in creating memorable comedy experiences, both virtual and in person. Before Laugh.events, Kevin was a founding team member at splashthat.com, where he began his career specializing in sales and marketing. Good. So this might sound funny, a little bit like it doesn't belong to now, like it's more futuristic. But if you think about it, things are changing very fast. So maybe before we know it, maybe in 2022, every company, maybe the company that you work for as well, is going to have a comedian that comes to your office every week or maybe every day with personalized shows to make you feel more at home, to make you feel more relaxed, and to bring up the productivity of the office. Well, we definitely hope so. Give a look at this online magazine, martechseries.com, because there are interesting articles about marketing, technology, and more. I wish you good rest of the week. It's Wednesday. We're right in the middle. The sun is not shining that hard in Milan today, not like it was yesterday or on Monday, but let's cross our fingers. And I wish you all a good rest of the week. Bye bye.